Hi friends, welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. It is the day that the garden comes out. So I'm going to give you one final glimpse of the garden, but we are done with her. She is coming out. So it is middle of September, and I'll be honest, it is early for me to take out the garden. I typically try to keep the garden going as long as possible, but there is so much work that needs done. I'm going to go over all that. There's so much work that needs done. But two, we are also in a drought. It's September and we're in this pretty bad drought. And so all my plants are already starting to die anyway. And because we're in a drought, they actually told us we can't water anything. So we're in a mandatory water conservation. So I can't even water my garden anyway. So I'm just like, you know what? We're 2 weeks from the frost. And I do think typically my first frost is the beginning of October. And the past couple years, it's been a late frost. I think 2 years ago, my first frost was in November. I think last year it was like end of October. I don't think it's going to be late this year. We're already having nights where we're getting down to the 40s. So I do think I'm 2 weeks before our frost, and I don't think I'm that before our what's it called? Like our recommended frost, or like that's not the right word, but our typical frost. And I think it's going to be right on schedule this year. So I'm actually not losing too much time in the garden, but we are ripping it out because we have so much to do this fall, and it has already been a crazy fall. And fall has barely started, and I think every single weekend of the next 2 months I have plans or parties or something that is going to take up my time. So today's actually not been a great day for this. It hasn't been a great start to the day. So I just got back from South Dakota. I came home with COVID, but when I came home, when I flew into South Dakota, I was sick. I was so sick. It was 12 hours of traveling. It was 11:30 at night, and I got to my car and my car was dead. My car wouldn't start. So thank the good Lord I had instant help. There were 2 families that instantly stopped, noticed that I was having issues. So my delay, I say like the delay was probably like a 3-minute delay. Like I had people there instantly helping me, and the car started right up. So I've been home. I've been really sick. I'm finally better. And so my dad came down, and we're finally going to start working on the car, getting the car. Like, we were going to jump the car and take the car to get a new battery. Well, can't get the car jumped. So I spent the whole morning so far. It's already 10 a.m. I spent the entire morning so far trying to get the car started. Can't get the car started. And I was really dumb. I pulled it in instead of backing it in. I never thought when I came home, it was like 1 o'clock when I got home at this point. I never ever thought the car wouldn't start. So I've made it really hard to get anything up to the car, to even jump the car. But we had jumper cables to the car, we had a battery pack, and nothing will start the car. So today was supposed to be an entire day of working in this garden, and it's getting a little screwed up trying to get the car started. So my dad just went home to get tools to take the battery out of the car and take the whole battery to the store to get a new battery, and hopefully that's going to solve the issue. But this entire weekend it's supposed to rain, so hopefully our drought situation will go away. But what makes that annoying is this is my one weekend where I don't have massive plans, and it's gonna rain. So we're gonna get everything taken out of here as much as we possibly can. And I'm gonna go over what else I need to do this fall. So the garden here, as you can see, I already started kind of ripping stuff out. I got really mad. My tomatillos really just took up so much space. So we're gonna rip almost everything out. Almost everything at this point is dead. You can see my tomatoes in here, they just don't look good. Again, they're just starting to die back. My Brussels sprouts, for whatever reason, they have like a black dust on them. Same with my kale. I have no idea what that is. If anyone knows what like that black dust is, it's like a black mold. I'll get closer and I'll show you. So they're coming out because I don't really want to eat that because I don't know why they're black and dusty. So I might keep 1 or 2 tomato plants, just so I do have some fresh tomatoes. But what I'm going to do is all the tomato plants I rip out, I'm going to take everything off green or red or whatever. And then I put the green tomatoes in my house, and they do ripen over time. It takes them a little bit, and they're definitely not as good as a sun-ripened tomato or a tomato fresh off the vine. But I will ripen them, and I will throw them. I'll just make a whole bunch of tomato soup as they ripen. That's kind of the thing I make in the fall every other day is tomato soup. The peppers I'm going to leave in because the peppers are still growing. Peppers I leave in for as long as I possibly can. And then I have I have a couple fall beds. I have a couple fall beds that we are going to leave in, and I'll show you those. Another thing that we're not doing today, but we're going to do is this. So this is my blackberry bush, and obviously you can see there's a tree growing in it. These trees grow so fast. This was not here in the spring. They grow so fast. So I'm actually gonna have my dad come down one day. I'm gonna take the chainsaw. I'm gonna take it all out. So I'm getting rid of my blackberry bush, which is unfortunate. But my blackberry bush it produces blackberries, but I never get any blackberries on it. By the time the blackberries are ripe, they're gone. The birds love them. So I've had that blackberry bush for a couple years now, 4 or 5 years now, and I have yet to get any blackberries off of it. So I've decided, you know what, it's a mess, it's growing trees in it, I'm not getting anything out of it, so we're gonna just nix it. So I'm gonna get the garden out, and I do have a whole bunch of mulch that we're gonna then mulch this entire garden with. We're gonna pull out that blackberry over there. I gotta pull all that stuff off the house, off the garage. We have planting that we need to do. We need to do our fall planting. We have bulbs that we need to plant. We have plants we need to transplant. So we have a lot that we need to do. And so we're gonna get started today getting all of this stuff ripped out. So let me do one final tour. The garden looks bad because the garden's dying. It's the end of the garden season. And as much as I'm sad that the garden's on its way out, like, well, the garden is coming out, I'm ready to like reclaim this space. This space is very messy. It's giving me a lot of anxiety, just how messy and bad it looks. And it's nature of the beast. Everything's dying. Things that are dying don't look good. But I'm ready to reclaim this space. So let me give you a tour and show you what we're gonna be doing today. So you walk in, we have this green bean arch, which is actually very much dying. The green, it's still putting off a little bit of green beans, but I'm ready for it to kind of come out. You know, it doesn't look that good. It's in the way. So we're just gonna take that out today. If we come in here, we have this big guy is coming out. I do have some sweet potatoes in here, especially over here. You can see my sweet potato vines. So I have sweet potatoes in there. We're gonna leave as long as we can. And then over here, this bed has potatoes. I did a fall planting of potatoes. So I don't know if I'm getting anything out of them yet, but I have them in here. I have some really pretty zinnias. Look at this zinnia first before I keep going. So they started out, actually, let me show you this one. They started out this beautiful stripy candy. I think, what are they called? They're called candy something. Candy zinnias. And then they slowly have been kind of like turning all pink. And so this one is all pink. I just think that is so pretty and so fun. This is what they're supposed to look like, and this is what they look like. So I just think that's interesting. But you can see I have potatoes in here. I have snap peas in here. So I have snap peas growing up the trellis here. So that is gonna stay. Coming in here, my broccoli and cauliflower has not done well. So here's a cauliflower that has just gotten eaten, so we're gonna yank him out. Got some weeds I have to pull. Back there I have a broccoli that at this point it's not going to give me anything. I have a couple broccolis back there. I might leave them, but I don't think they're going to really give me anything. And then I do have some lettuce in here that I have been eating from. So this bed will eventually get worked on, but that's not the focus of today. This is all the focus of today. All of these weeds are getting yanked out. I'm gonna heavily cardboard this space and then heavily mulch this space with a mixture of lots of straw, and I think I might even put some of the wood chips down onto this space to get this space kind of put to bed for the winter. So this whole space is the focus of today. All of these paths, you can't even tell there's a path right there. I have some beds. I have a bed there, I have a bed there, I have a path between it. You can't tell. It's just filled with weeds. So if we get to it today, that'd be great. If not, that's fine. But I'm going to get all of those weeds pulled out, and then again, just cardboard and heavily mulch. I typically mulch my garden paths in the spring. However, I couldn't get mulch this year in the spring. So I'm doing an experiment this year. We're going to see how it goes. It could be a success. It could be a massive failure. But I'm going to heavily mulch now. And I'm not going to mulch in the spring. I'm going to see if I can't mulch in the fall, if I have a better success in the fall. Because I can't get the mulch in the spring. Well, I can, but I just didn't get it this year. I just didn't have luck. and I didn't want to buy the mulch. I just wanted to get like a chip drop delivery. So I'm going to heavily mulch right now with the intention of not mulching again in the spring. And hopefully that keeps some of the weeds at bay. So we'll see. It's going to be an experiment, but we'll see how it goes. So the potato patch is what I just showed you, and that's what needs mulched, or torn out the most. That's what's really bothering me. And you know, I keep telling myself, and I know that I'm right, that I pulled that potato patch in middle July, and it did have straw in it. It was mulch. I didn't leave bare ground, but it grew July and August, and this is what weeds do if they don't have something covering it. And I did have straw, but they're gonna grow. So weeds come and weeds go. So I'm not allowing myself to obsess too much about it, but that's where a ton of my anxiety is. I think I'll feel a lot better if I can get that kind of out. But with that said, this is my tomato patch, and we do have a lot of thistle. I have so much thistle. I literally don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. But I'm going to eventually, this is the second part of my plan. See if I get to this today. We're going to pull all of this out. But I will say this year, if you remember last year, well, if you were here last year, this space was incredibly weedy. I had hay, straw, thistle. I had everything grown in this space. And I will say this year that while I do have thistle, I am very proud of how weed free I was able to keep this space. So it's not completely weed free, but it's better than it was. So I'm going to get all of this taken out and put all of this bed with the same way I'm doing the potato patch, with the cardboard, with the wood chips, and with the straw. This is the last bed I'm going to leave right now. I'm just actually going to focus on this half of it. So I have some zucchinis and I have some lettuces. And I planted beets, and my beets are coming, but I don't have as many as I initially did. So I'm not sure why. I think they just probably died. But the end of this bed is pretty weedy. So I'm going to pull out these weeds and again, just start putting everything to bed. So I'm going to get started on this, and I'm excited to reclaim my garden. I got my gloves. We're gonna start pulling some weeds. So this is the first time I've been working in the garden for probably a solid month. But the last 2 to 3 weeks in particular, I was in South Dakota. Then I came home and I had COVID. I was really sick from COVID. And this is the first day since I've gotten COVID that I've actually been what I consider as 100% better. But I am typically someone who works incredibly hard, does a lot of labor, and I can work for an entire day in a very labor intensive job and not be super exhausted. I did on this day a total of an hour's worth of work between trying to get the car situated and all that stuff that I had going on already. I did an hour's worth of work throughout the day, and that had me so exhausted. So I'm really struggling to get things done with COVID. Trying to kind of recoup my energy. It really wiped all of my energy out. But on this day, I was able to get the entire potato patch and some of my pathways cleaned out and got all the weeds taken out, and I hauled it back to the back of the yard to get hauled away. So it was a successful day. It wasn't as successful as I wanted it to be, but I'm happy with what I got done. I feel better about this patch, but I'm still nervous about the amount of work I have to do. Before, and I'll say it again. What is really nice is this entire potato patch I had cardboarded, and then I put straw and dirt on top of. So the thistle wants to grow, and the thistle will grow through anything. But what it does is because it has to snake out so far to get out from the cardboard, because it really can't come, at least with fresh cardboard, it can't come up through the cardboard, so it'll snake out to the edges and then come up. What happens is all of that snake in, that's a terrible word, I hate that word, but all of that extrusion means the plant, one, doesn't have a good root system, and two, it comes up super easily. So these plants I can pull. Now I'm not getting the whole thing, so I know I'm leaving, it's a thistle, it's a taproot, so I know I'm leaving some taproot in the ground, but they come up super easily. So two, my other thing with gardening is these roots, even if I didn't have cardboard, because I had this entire space cleaned just 2 months ago, these weeds are not established. There's a ton, but they don't have a big root system, so they come up just so easily. So it's not any work at all to get these weeds out of here. Okay, it's technically been about an hour and a half, but it's only been about 30 minutes, maybe 20 minutes of work, and we have that whole potato patch cleared out. It's been an hour because we kept working on my car, and so we ended up having to call a tow truck because my car would not start. So I'm taking a break. The tow truck is here, but 30 minutes of work and it's looking pretty good. Well, friends, I am done for the day. I honestly only worked out here for about an hour, but I got a good amount done. So I have the entire potato bed emptied, and then I emptied these beds here, and I found my pathways. And I'll be honest, I'm tired now. I pulled it all and I hauled it all down. If you can see it. No, you can't really see it, but it's down there. The big pile of brush. And then Dad will bring down the trailer one day whenever I'm ready for him, and we'll load the brush all up on the trailer and take it and dump it into the woods. But I feel better. I already feel better about getting the potato patch cleared and getting this section cleared. So next is the tomatoes. I honestly don't have any energy right now. I'm still getting over my cold, so my energy isn't where it normally is. And I have dinner plans this evening, so it's not too early for me to go get a shower and kind of start getting ready for dinner. So that's the first day of cleaning out this garden, and I'm gonna say I'm honestly very tired. That was a lot of work. And I don't know if it's just because I'm still sick and I'm like kind of recovering, or if I'm not out of shape, but I'm tired now. But I'm sorry to see the garden go, but I'm ready to have the rest and a break from weeds, that's for sure. So thank you guys for joining me, and I'll bring you guys along when we rip up the tomatoes and rip out everything else. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, friends.